I'm starting off by slicking my hair down with Redken's Shape Factor 22 and taming my baby hairs with One United. It smells so good. Then prepping my skin with NYX's Hydra Touch Primer and the Body Shop's Vitamin C Skin Boost. I'm concealing my blemishes with a light concealer palette and going in with a HD foundation in the color 1, Nude. Where I need more coverage, I'm setting it with a Hydra Touch foundation in number 4, and the rest I'm setting with a HD finishing powder. I also used a lighter powder under my eyes. Then I lightly filled in my brows with a micro brow pencil in black. Oh, what's this? Oh, hey there! So that was essentially my video, and now I'm going to show you just how I did it. It took me over 60 hours of filming to get about 35 seconds of stop motion footage. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy seeing how it was done. So I made a quick stencil by drawing what I wanted on paper and cutting it out on clear plastic. This helped me map out where they were going to go on my chest area. I started with a white felt tip liner and white gel liner to fill in the stencil, but eventually changed to using white face paint. The start was so awkward. For the blue, I used the Full Throttle Shadow Stick in Graphic Content and the Macaron Lippy in Ultra Dare. For his little seed bag, I used the Mineral Stick Foundation in number 9, and I used number 15 to shade it. I used a super skinny marker and the gray felt tip marker for the eyes. As you can see, the process consisted of painting the same thing over and over again, just moving it slightly forward with each time, taking a photo for every frame. The eye and lip makeup remover and cotton buds were my best friends. I used baby wipes for general wiping, but I used the cotton buds for more precise cleanup. You'll also notice I gave up on the stencil. When you paint something over 20 times, you get used to how it's supposed to look. I marked where the seeds were supposed to go where you couldn't see them, so that when I erased everything, I could paint them back exactly where they were before. Oh, and California, buddy, if you could stop it with earthquakes while I'm trying to take a picture, that'd be great. Thanks. No, seriously, I'm on a tight schedule. And here you can see me trying to match the position from the previous frame. And then erase and repeat. 1 minute of silence for the skinny marker that died, but I've got the gray liner to take its place. Now they're done walking, the cleanup is much more precise using a cotton bud. There were 29 individual shots of them walking. I'm slowly turning them around and making them drop the bag and hands where I can see them. With the Vivid Brights liners in Vivid Envy and Vivid Escape, I'm starting to draw in the little plants. I'm using the darker green as a base and drawing in little lines on the leaves with the lighter green for some texture and dimension. To make the plants grow, I had to erase the leaves, lengthen the stems, and draw the leaves again. Painting in the light green with little sketchy lines as opposed to filling in the whole leaf is better to add texture. With the Full Throttle stick in Poison Proper, I'm coloring in the grass. The little plants are starting to want to become trees, so I'm drawing in their trunks with the Mineral Stick Foundation in 15. Once they've grown a little, I'm going in with the stick foundation in number 9 to give them a difference in color and therefore texture. With the Full Throttle stick in Double Trouble, I'm drawing in some more abstract leaves. They don't have to be too precise. I'm also drawing in grass and blending it out with a brush. Then I'm adding texture with the light green liner. I'm using the Slide-On pencil in Esmeralda to give the grass some different texture and color. Once there were more leaves, I went over them with a Poison Proper shadow stick and dotted the light green Vivid Bright liner for some more texture. I'm probably gonna say this a million times, but for more texture, I'm going in with a pale green face paint. Now comes my favorite texturing technique. It's what I like to call the tappy texture. All you have to do is take a flat brush and tap it over and over, and that's it. I'm just making those branches grow and thickening the trunks. More tappy texture. I keep it mostly around the perimeter to give it a fading effect. I'm also filling in some of the bare background with a face paint, and you will be seeing a lot of Mr. Tappy texture. Now with the Pro Foundation mixers in Deep and Olive, I'm thickening the tree trunks. I'm basically darkening the trees as they grow. For some really bright leaves, I'm using the Macaron Lippy in Key Lime. With a slide-on pencil in Tropical Green, I'm adding texture to the grass and blending it out with a brush. For the plants to cover up the little Totoros completely, I erased their ears and drew some lines with the Vivid Bright liners and blended them. Then with the shadow stick in Double Trouble, I made the tree trunks green and painted really dark branches with the Pro Foundation mixer in Deep. Now with some medium green face paint, I'm just filling in the background. I'm also fading out the perimeters of the image as well, and starting to fill out the canopy with a shadow stick. With the Epic Black Mousse liner, we start the reveal. I clean up the edges with the Vivid Bright liners, and add some more light leaves with the shadow stick in Poison Proper. I made a little cutout of Totoro to see where he would be placed in the final image. With a white gel liner, I started highlighting his belly. I was able to move him around and use him as a reference. He fell onto my mirror and fits right into it. It's just so cute. I'm just gradually making the hole bigger and bigger and highlighting his body. As the hole gets bigger and more light gets in, I'm going over the black with the green shadow stick. I'm cleaning up my lines with a pale green face paint. I'm shining more light into the hole with the shadow stick in Poison Proper and blending it out with Double Trouble. Now with a full throttle stick in Dangerously, I'm adding yellow highlights around the hole and blending it out with a brush. Since the Macaron Lippy in Coconut has a smoother texture but less pigmentation than the white gel liner, I decided to use it to smooth out the highlight, adding some more Poison Proper and some more tappy texture. Now with the Vivid Bright liners, I'm making the trees bloom with a variety of flowers. Some I'm dotting, some I'm drawing little lines. Now I'm highlighting Totoro's belly even more and starting to highlight his body with the Black Sesame Macaron Lippy. I start to map out his arm and use the cutout as a reference to make sure it's the right size. When using white cream colors for something like this, make sure to scoop them out so you don't get them dirty when you dip your brush back in them. For the flowers, all you need are random dots and shapes. Now to give them really great texture, I'm actually going to be using the colored mascaras for this because the wands give a really nice uneven texture, and the colors are lighter than the Vivid Bright liners, so I'm putting them over the liners to create a sort of highlight effect. Here you can see the program I'm using to capture the frames, and you can see me try to position myself according to the previous frame. I compare the two frames and make sure I like them so I can move on to the next scene. I also check my progress to see how it's looking. With the shadow stick and Dangerously, I'm highlighting outside and inside of his little den. I'm also lightening the inside of the den with Poison Proper. Using the yellow in the NYX Ultimate eyeshadow palette, I'm setting the shadow sticks and blending out the colors more. I'm also going over the flowers for an almost clouded effect. And going back with another layer of the colored mascaras. Because of the shape of the mascara wands, you can really play around with them. You can use the tips, or you can use the sides and drag them along, or just tap them on for some texture. You can play around and see what works for you. Since the lipstick I'm using for his body is really creamy, I'm setting it with a powder before I go on with another layer. And now I'm back to using the white gel liner instead of the lipstick because I want a stronger pigmentation. To get his belly even brighter and whiter, I'm using white face paint. I'm also going in with a fan-shaped paintbrush to give him more texture. I'm using that same brush to dot the face paint all around. It creates tiny little lines and dots, so it's different from the technique I was using before. But I also added some more tappy texture. Yes! Now to give the hole more dimension, I'm going with the dark green shadow stick along the top and the sides of it. Then I'm highlighting this new edge that I created with the yellow liner. then adding more yellow to the new edges. Now that he's all lit up, he can get his nose, his whiskers, his eyes, and his little triangles on his tummy. I'm just using the felt tip liner for all of this. Now for one last round of my beloved tappy texture, I'm going in with white face paint. Before, I had only done it with a pale green face paint. I'm also tapping the white along the edge of the hole to highlight it further, and I'm also adding texture to Totoro so he matches the rest of the image. Now night falls upon us by mixing black and blue face paint. I go on adding little by little, taking a picture each time. Once my full face is covered, I can start drawing in the raindrops with white face paint. The best way to do this is by flicking the fingers that are holding the brush. That way you can get a thin straight line. For the cat bus lights, it's a bit of a process. First, you draw in the shape with a white face paint. Then go over and around it with the yellow from the NYX Ultimate Eyeshadow Palette. With the hot yellow primal color, create the glow around it. Then fill in the circle with the yellow concealer from the color correcting palette. From this angle, you can see how I cheat perspective. It's an oval when you see it from the side, but looking straight forward, it becomes a circle. That's due to the way your nose is shaped. Now I'm repeating the same steps, starting with a base of white face paint, but I'm adding the nose and the mouth as well. Then I'm going with the Pro Foundation Mixer in Warmth as a base for the nose, and setting it with an orange shadow from the Ultimate palette. I'm redrawing any raindrops I erased in the process. Then cleaning up for the final cat bus. I'm priming my face with the yellow color correcting primer to give me a yellow base to work on. Then I'm mapping out the shapes with the yellow concealer from the Deep Concealer palette. Once that's done, I draw the mouth and the eyes with white face paint. With the liquid suede lipstick in Orange County, I draw in the nose. Once that's done, I go in with a yellow concealer and properly paint the rest of my skin. I'm using the Mineral Stick Foundation in 15 for the rest of his fur. Then I'm completely coloring in the eyes with the yellow Vivid Bright liner. And I'm cleaning up the lines of the nose with a concealer on a flat brush. I also drew in some fur texture. Pause for a quick snack while trying to not ruin the makeup. Using your pinky as a hinge to stabilize your hand, you'll want to trace all the shapes with a gray liner. I'm also drawing in details like his lids and the dots for his whiskers. I'm only mapping out the pupils with a liner because I'm going to thicken them later with black face paint. To make sure you get super straight lines when drawing the teeth, instead of moving your hand, leave your hand steady and move your head up. Using black face paint on a thin brush, just thicken the pupils. Once everything's drawn out, I'm going to start creating dimension using the white gel liner and the white macaron lippy. I used the gel liner first and then blend it out with a lipstick. Now I'm going to create some shadows with a concealer from the Deep Concealer palette. To shade in the teeth, I'm using the Black Sesame Macaron Lippy. You'll want to shade along the lines of the teeth, but you can completely fill in the back ones. Then I'm using the white gel liner for some highlights. I'm setting the gel liner and blending it out with a hot single shadow in whipped cream. I'm applying the Deep Pro Foundation Mixer next to my eyelashes and eyebrows to help hide them. Then I'm setting it with a brown from the Full Throttle Eyeshadow Palette in Explicit. I'm setting the rest of the brown with the darkest color in the Highlight and Contour Pro palette. To help hide my eyebrows, I'm applying the brown colored mascara, and while it's still wet, I'm setting it with the darkest color from the Contour palette. Be sure to clean the excess mascara off your brush before you dip into your powder again. Shade around the sides of your face and chin. Then I'm filling in the ears with white face paint and adding texture with a fan brush. For the fur on the face, I prefer to add texture the way I did the rain. So I'm setting everything with the HD powder and going in with a thin brush and the face paint, and just doing little flicks of color. Now for some brown fur texture, I'm going in with the eyebrow gel and brunette. I'm also doing the same thing with the Pro Foundation Mixer in Deep. I'm cleaning up my edges of the night sky and adding some more fur with a Pro Foundation mixer in olive and the mineral foundation stick. I'm also using the foundation stick in number 9 to shade under the eyes to give them dimension. I'm shading under the mouth as well. With the deep Pro Foundation mixer, I'm shading the center of the nose. Then I'm highlighting the sides with a yellow concealer. I'm hiding my eyelashes the same way I hid my eyebrows. I'm applying the mascara and patting down the contour powder. And that's the cat bust done. Now for the invasion of the dust bunnies. I'm painting them with black face paint and a dry brush technique, until I eventually get all covered by them. Then I'm tightlining my eyes with a jumbo pencil and black bean. And that's how you film a stop motion animation on yourself. It was about 60 hours of filming in 4 days, not to mention an extra day for product shots, not to mention the editing as well. So it was a lot of effort. I barely slept. I didn't sleep on one of the nights. I worked for 24 hours straight, but it was all worth it. I've always wanted to try my hand at animation. I just never thought it would be using makeup. I really hope you enjoyed it. If this video earned your vote, then please go vote for me in the link below. Voting goes from the 17th to the 24th of June, and you can vote 3 times a day, every day. So please, I need all the help I can get. I don't have as many subscribers, as many followers as some of the other people in the competition, so I need all the help I can get. If you can get your sisters, brothers, parents, your friends to vote, that would be amazing. And I also want to take the time to say a big thank you to everyone who's been sending me messages of love and support. You guys are awesome. This is so insane. I've gotten so many followers since the last video I did for the competition, and I just want to welcome you all to my channel, and I'm really glad you guys like my work, so thank you for sticking with me, and thank you for all your support. I do plan on doing a behind the scenes video about how I got this video together, showing you a little bit of my process up to filming and then the filming itself. I'm going to talk about the learning curve that comes with this kind of project and that sort of thing. Once it's up, I'm going to come back and link it here on my face, so you can just click there. If you have any comments or questions or just want to say hi, then shoot me a message below. So once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!